Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another edition of Nova Armory's Armor series. We've got a Sig P320 here. This is the full-size variant, and we're going to go ahead and go over the basic field stripping procedure and basic cleaning procedure of this firearm today. First off, with any firearm, you always want to ensure that the firearm is in fact unloaded. We're going to start by verifying that the magazine well of this firearm is empty. Second, we're going to go ahead and move the slide to the rearward position and lock it in place, verifying both visually and digitally that the chamber is in fact empty. From there, we're going to rotate the takedown switch approximately 120 degrees or so to this position, at which point we're going to release the slide and then remove the top half or the slide assembly of the firearm from the frame. Setting the frame aside, we're going to push the recoil guide rod in, lift out slightly, and remove it. Set that aside. Now, moving the barrel down and forward slightly, back down again, and out. This is the basic field strip of a Sig Sauer P320. Next procedure is going to be inspecting the barrel. Verifying that the barrel seems to be in good condition and free of most major obstructions, the next thing we're going to do is apply a basic amount of cleaning solvent to the bore. In this case, I'm using CLP, which is a cleaner, lubricant, and protectant, very popular throughout the military and armed services. This particular gun seems to be in fairly decent condition, not super dirty at the moment, so it's not going to require a lot of attention to the bore. But the first step is, now that we have a cleaner inside the bore of the barrel, we're going to go ahead and swab this with a nylon brush several times to remove any particulate matter or any residue from gunpowder, copper jackets, lead, etc. As you may be able to see on the video, there's a significant amount of residue here on the paper towel at this point, indicating that I've swabbed loose quite a large amount of the debris that is in the barrel. So at this point, I'm going to now take a cotton swab or a patch and run it through to clean up the residuals. This operation can be repeated until the patch comes out clean. Now keep in mind that the dirtier the firearm, the more brushing and the more wiping with cotton swabs or patches this will require to obtain a clean bore. Now, I can verify at this point, the condition of the bore seems to be absolutely impeccable. First off, we'll go ahead and wipe off any excess solvent, place the barrel aside. Moving on to the slide assembly. There's a significant amount of carbon buildup and residue in this section and in the breech section of the firearm here. These areas can be addressed with a nylon brush, in some cases a copper or bronze wire brush, and also with various picks to get into hard to reach areas. Starting out with a small amount of solvent on our brush, we can start to loosen any carbon deposits in these areas, paying careful attention to the slide rails on either side of the slide. Once this has been completed, these areas can be wiped off with a paper towel, a Q-tip, a rag, a cotton swab, a cotton patch. As you can see, there's quite a bit of carbon coming off of this gun. Ensure that the firearm is mostly dry, that you've addressed all the problem areas where carbon is built up during firing of the weapon. The next step would be to inspect the recoil guide rod, which in this case appears to be fairly clean. However, would probably benefit from a quick wipe down. Very little residue coming off of there, mostly clean. The final area to focus on is the frame and the receiver of the firearm. As can be seen here, there's silver, there's also black. These black sections should be silver. So, going back to our nylon brush, we're going to clean those areas. The fire control group in the rear is going to receive a little bit of attention as well. Especially these 4 points here, 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 and here, where the slide rides on the firearm. These need to be kept clean and lubricated at all times. In this case, once again, there's very little carbon buildup on this firearm. It's relatively clean, so it's not going to require a whole lot of attention. That's the residue we've pulled off of our frame. It's always a good idea as well, when cleaning the frame assembly, to make sure that you go through the magazine well as many gases do blow back into the magazine well during firing. Quick swab of that area is never a bad idea, as evidenced by more carbon buildup coming out of our magazine well area. Once cleaned, a basic lubrication of all load-bearing surfaces on the firearm is necessary. In this case, we're using Slip 2000 Extreme Weapons Lubricant. You can use a lubricant of your choice. CLP is also a good choice. It's a multi-purpose cleaner lubricant preservative or protectant. A lot of people use this. The barrel should have a light coating of oil. 1 drop spread evenly across the barrel. It's also a good idea to have 1 drop right here at the load-bearing surface, the front of your chamber for any type of browning action. Then reinsert the barrel into the slide. Replace the guide rod. Now that we've lubricated these sections of our load-bearing surfaces that are the slide is going to ride on, go ahead and place the slide back onto the firearm, lock it into the rearward position, rotate our takedown switch back into the lock position, drop the slide, function test. With a clean paper towel, wipe off any excess lubricant or solvent that may still be on the gun, on the exterior, because we want to have a good grip on this thing, right? Function test. And this Sig P320 is finished. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to our Nova Armory Armorer training series. Please stay tuned for the next video.